This is a story of a high school drumline who overcame lots of adversity and odds to accomplish some very special things, both personally as individuals and as a group. I was chatting on the phone with Jesse Bradman of KickPort International, the folks who make the drum enhancement ports. Jesse explained to me about a high school in a small town in North Carolina who had just won second place at the BOA Super Regionals in Georgia. The school had not been there in 11 years, and the drumline was made up of freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. No seniors. Some of these kids had only just started playing drums. Some of these kids had challenges with social anxiety disorder, and the percussion instructor, Ron Brown, had not long ago almost lost his life as a police officer while in pursuit of a drunk driver. Jesse went on to tell me that Mr. Brown had installed KickPorts in all the marching drums, and they were told even by judges that the ports made a huge difference in the clarity of the drums, the articulation of the players, and that Mr. Brown had used these properties as a training tool for the kids to sharpen their playing skills. There were so many obvious stories here, lessons in teamwork, perseverance, drumming, the underdog prevailing, words from the parents of how this program had such value and how these programs can be for all kids, that we decided to visit them on the day of their last performance of the season and hear their story. Parents and kids all asked us, "Why did you come all the way out here to our little town?" The answer was simple. I answered, "This is where you are." On the way to Mount Pleasant from the airport, we suddenly found ourselves in a storybook setting. And this is their story. Hi everybody, welcome to Drum Talk TV. We're here for a very special episode. We're in Mount Pleasant, North Carolina, and I'm here with Mr. Ron Brown. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Great, great. It's so nice to see you in person, in your element.
Yes.
With all these trophies from years gone by, and just to talk to you about this great group of kids you got and the marching band that you're a part of. You're the percussion instructor.
Yes.
And you had an amazing weekend that we'll talk about with the kids. Basically, they came out of nowhere and won second place.
Did very good. Proud of them.
BOA
Super Regional.
Super Regional down in Georgia.
Yep, Atlanta, Georgia.
That's great. Let's get to know you a little bit, because there's all kinds of little stories within this whole thing. And one is that you were with law enforcement for how long?
About 2 years. Just about 2 years.
Okay.
I was a part of a police department in a small town called Wadesboro.
Mm-hmm. Which is about how far from here?
From here, about 45 minutes. We're pretty close to it. About 45 minutes to an hour from here. So.
And we're about a half hour outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, just to give everybody a little.
Right. Correct.
Just in case there's three people that haven't heard of Mount Pleasant.
Yeah. There's quite a few probably.
How did you like law enforcement, and why did you get into it?
You know, law enforcement for me, I call it a family business. I have a lot of family members that are in law enforcement. Mm-hmm. I loved working with people and helping people, and one of my positions that I held was as a school resource officer. And I worked within the school system and, just helping the kids stay focused, and, was there when I had to do the duties of a police officer. But mainly it was, I was still helping kids and still training. And then also working within the community.
And you played drums, right?
Yeah.
You're already a drummer. Have you played drums since you were young?
Yeah, I actually went to school for music education.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Went to Brevard College for 2 years. At the time, it was only a 2-year school, aging myself a little bit here. And then I transferred to University of South Carolina and marched in the WAD squad, and really gained a lot of experience. And while I was there, we had some family things that I had to take care of, so I didn't get to complete as much as I wanted to, but I actually came out and was a assistant band director at Edisto High School, and which is actually not in Edisto, South Carolina. It's in Cordova. For those of you who don't know, it's a town that has one mailbox. So I find myself always in these small places, but taught there for several years under Sterling Harris, which was a great band director, and had a lot of fun. And we did a lot of good things at that school.
That's cool. And then during your law enforcement career, you probably did most things that police officers do and have to deal with. And one of them ended your law enforcement career and almost ended your life. Tell us about the accident that you were in while on duty.
I was chasing a I was in pursuit of an intoxicated driver, allegedly intoxicated driver, and who just decided he was tired of talking to me, and he pulled off. And during that pursuit, lost control of the car, flipped my patrol car 4 times in a cartwheel motion, hitting several objects. But the outcome of it was 4 broken ribs and a broken scapula, which is your shoulder blade. And while at the hospital, they had to put in a chest tube and broke a 5th one. So went to the doctor, and the doctor says, you're not going to play drums anymore. And I just kind of looked at him and said, okay. And I left it at that. And because I know that wasn't going to be the case.
Right.
So, and since then, things have just been really great, and I teach kids all the time, no one can tell you you're not going to do something.
That's
you have to
right.
go after what your dream is.
That's right. And if someone ever talks like that, you cannot believe it or buy into that language.
Thank you for your opinion, but I'm going to keep going. And that was pretty much what I left the doctor with.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been a great run. I've played on a recording for JYJ, which is K Jung Joon, which is a part of JYJ, which is a Korean pop artist, and his title track, Just Another Girl, on his solo album, if you listen to it, that's actually me playing drums.
Ah, cool.
That's actually me doing the recording in the studio, and it was really amazing to do that. And I'm now currently working with a group from Universal Records.
Oh, great.
So, and say, hey, Doc, I'm not playing drums. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things. I'm really grateful, and life being spared, and everything that's come my way, I'm really blessed and fortunate.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm teaching.
Yeah.
So
quite an outcome considering from the moment you had to be taken out of a car that was peeled open like a sardine can by the rescue workers, and now all the things you're involved in. Yeah. We'll talk a bit about the equipment before we get to Yamaha, Evans, and KickPort. Talk about Vic Firth a little bit, because I know you're on the education panel. You guys use Vic Firth sticks.
Yes.
Talk a little about your involvement with that.
With Vic Firth, the way it works is I go out and do a lot of drum clinics. I'm a part of a group called Drummers United, and we do drum clinics all over, and people call us in to do drum clinics. We cover everything from marching band to drum set, mallet percussion. We cover Latin influences. On that group, you have Daniel Rodriguez, who won the Guitar Center Drum Off in 2006.
Yeah.
You have Clyde Frazier, who was a finalist in 2010. You have DeCarlos Hulk Smash Davis, who is a phenomenal drum set player. He puts you in the mind of a Dennis Chambers. Yeah. And then you have me, who I'm really kind of like the organizer, the education force behind a lot of it. I do drum set. I play drum set as well, of course, with everything I told you before. But I'm a part of AJP Custom Drums, where they built me a fantastic set. So that's kind of where I am right now. I'm on an education performance line now as far as my career is concerned.
That's great. Let's talk about the Yamaha drums that you're using.
Okay.
How old are they, if you don't mind me asking? I'm curious how long they've been with the school.
We purchased these drums in 2004. We're here at this school, we make do with what we have. And that's just what we do. We really would like to purchase a new line, with them being, at about 10 years old. It's time, but we work with what we have, and hopefully sometime in the near future we'll be able to make that purchase and get more.
Right.
So the Yamahas have worked great for us. What we're using this year is 2 snares, 14s. We're using 4 bass drums this year. We're using the 16, skipped over the 18, 20, 22, and 24.
Great.
So it's working out great for us this year. They sound great, and they're working for us.
And what type of Evans Kevlar heads are they?
On the top, we're using the hybrid heads, and on the bottom, we're using MX5 on the snares. And bass drums, we're using the MX1. And I went MX1 instead of MX2 because I still wanted to keep tone. I wanted to deaden sound, but I wanted a different type of tone. A lot of lines are going to the MX2 for several different reasons. Some of it gives you a little warmer sound, and then with the 2-ply. So we went single ply, and I just kind of did my little magic with it.
Does single ply help you retain the melodic element a little bit more?
It's, I tell everybody, all heads are just what they are until you tune it, and it's all in how you tune it.
Right.
For what we do and for the tone that I'm looking for, the best one that fits us is the MX1.
Cool. And then KickPort came along.
Yeah.
Did you find KickPort, or did they find you?
Well, I already use KickPort on my drum set.
Okay.
They're a part of my drum clinics.
So they're part of your sound.
They're part of my sound automatically, and I fell in love with the FX port system for my drum set, kick drum. And then I started using it on my floor tom and my snare drum, and I'm just like, man, I'm in love with this. And one day I'm flipping through the pictures, and on KickPorts website, and I saw this marching bass drum sitting with a port in it, and I said, ooh. And you know how you see that object and you go, I gotta have it. And it's funny because
big light bulb.
Right, yeah. So I'm sitting there, and my wife knows that look, and she's like, uh-oh. And I'm like, did you see this? And she goes, what? And I'm like, never mind.
Yeah.
So then, I call out to Russell and the guys. I'm like, hey, I saw this photo. And they're like, yeah, it's kind of, I said, I want to try it. And long story short, we were using the KickPorts and the bass drum for the summer. Fell in love with the sound, fell in love with what it did. Now, here, we haven't bought new drum heads in 5 years, just from budget standpoints. And so, it is what it is. And I said, I want to try it, send it out, and talk to the band director. He said, we're going to make a way to go ahead and get new drum heads this year. And so I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to try it. So we got the ports in. We tried them in different places and different locations. Fell in love with the sound it made for us. And so talking to Russell, and he's like, what do you need? And I said, honestly, we need drum heads. And we worked some things out, and we were able to continue to test drive the product, continue to get, play with it some more. And they helped us out, and we got heads for the bass drum. And when we were doing the heads for the snare, he's like, you need to try out the snare ports too. And I've got 2 freshmen on snare drum. So any instructor that has 2 freshmen, and you're looking at these ports, and they're gonna tell the truth.
Yeah.
They're gonna tell the truth, okay? So first things first, the ports tell the truth. So if it's not clean, you're a little nervous. Well, I went ahead, I said, let's do it. And the ports don't just tell the truth, they're a training tool. When used properly, they're a training tool. My bass drum line has 2 freshmen, 2 juniors. And it trained them how to continue to move on.
And for those watching who don't understand, it's because one of the effects and benefits of using the KickPort, whether it's in your bass drum, marching bass drum, on the batter side of your bass drum, or the top head of a snare, is that it articulates. It brings out the articulation. So therefore, when Ron says it tells the truth, that's for good, better, or worse. It's going to tell the truth. Yeah, and when you have a group of people playing together, let alone one person, that's when you're going to notice how well or not people are in sync.
Exactly. And with this being our first year marching in like 4 or 5 years, everyone had to learn to march. So we went from learning to march to also learning the music. And so, it kind of set the tone that, it's time to get to work and we got to stay focused.
Right.
And with that, it helped me teach articulation to our guys. It helped me teach, proper stick, patterns, what's your stick flow, where your stick should move and how it should play through the head.
Yeah.
So in essence, not only did it fix our playing ability, it made us sound even better. So
Did they realize that right away?
No. They knew it sounded different. But I have a good group of kids, and we sit down every time at the beginning of the year, and I say, hey, there's a few things you need to know. One, I'll never put you in a position that you won't be successful in. That's not my job. My job is to make sure you're going to be successful. And secondly, I need you to listen to what I say. Do exactly what I say, and wait until it doesn't work before you argue. You have to do it first. If it doesn't work, then we'll talk about it and we'll fix it and we'll make adjustments. And this group this year just bought into that.
That's great.
They bought into the fact, okay, Jazz said, they call me Jazz, so Jazz said to do it, so therefore we're going to do it.
And there's no seniors in this
No.
drum line.
No, actually, no. We have 2 freshmen on top bass, 2 juniors on the 2 bottom bass, 2 freshmen on snare. And yeah, my front ensemble, the oldest person is a sophomore.
And to also quantify how amazing it is that y'all won second place at the Super Regionals is the fact that not only are there no seniors, which means there's less experienced players, of course, just simple math, but you mentioned to me when we were speaking once on the phone that a lot of these other schools that did compete are used to having huge budgets with beautiful fields to practice on. They erect all these big props and things as part of their show, whereas your school comes from a little bit of a different sort of model, if you will, where describe the playing field and the director's stand and the practice field rather, and all of that.
We practice in the front yard of our school, which has kind of got its own hills and pits and valleys, and kind of you get to like the last 10 yards of the front of our field and it kind of slopes off. So that's kind of where we march. We don't have a whole bunch of different things that we can kind of say that the grass is pristine, there's no pits and valleys. We literally march on what you don't want to march on. Our band director is scaffolding. Let's just say...
Does it come out of an erector set box?
Yeah, that'd probably be better. But anyway, just imagine the scaffolding you see on when people are painting buildings. Yeah, that they attach to the wall so it doesn't sway. Yeah, that's ours, but we don't have that wall.
It's just freestanding.
Yeah, it's kind of freestanding, and we kind of climb carefully up and down that.
Wow.
But here's the thing, and this is the thing I love about these kids. There are no excuses. We don't make excuses. We go to work, and their heart is that we're going to give it the best that we have, and we're going to let you make the decision on that, on whether we deserve it or not. We don't have the elaborate budget. We just go to work.
Right.
And I call them it's like grunt work.
Yeah, it is what it is. They paint the field, you told me.
Yeah, they paint it themselves. We get spray cans and we get this rope and we take it from one end of the field to the other and they paint. They get in a long line. It's like about 6 or 7 guys and everybody has their own section and they spray that section. And it literally builds. You're putting sweat equity into your own band.
Yeah, there's a team morale that occurs.
So when you're out there practicing, you're not just marching on lines that just appeared. You're not marching on lines that somebody put there. You're marching on lines that you put there. You took your time out of your day and you painted that line.
Right.
And so it's a little bit of a, you respect the field more, and you respect your program more. There's a sense of pride that when we get out there to march, we've done this, and it's not that we don't need help, but we're going to do it whether we get help or not. And we love help. We would gladly take any help, but we're not going to do it just because we don't have the help.
Yeah.
So, and when we get the help, we're even more appreciative of it. The fact that someone would, invest time, invest their money, and want to help us. And we go out and we do our show over and over again, and we just, that's how we pay our respects to those that help us.
Right.
By going out and giving it the best show that we can.
Right.
And for that, I'm really proud of those guys.
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing story when you consider your background, the unfortunate turn of events in your life that brought you here, and now this great group of these 6 kids that have had very little experience doing this. And I know that one of them has had some pretty moderate to serious issues with anxiety disorder and just the shortcomings of your practice facility, all these things, and none of that matters. It's all about just how bad you want it, how big your heart is, and real eager to meet all the kids. So we're going to meet the kids. We're going to see them warm up later. We're going to see their halftime performance of the very last game of the year, which is going to include a very special ceremony where the seniors that are in the band are going to pass their shoes on, right?
Yeah, at the end of every year, what we do is the kids take their shoes off and they give it to an underclassman, and what that symbolizes is my time is done here. I need you to fulfill my shoes and finish the work that I've started. And so every year, it's usually that performance is very emotional, and the kids play even on another level. So I'm really excited to see what it's going to be this year, because they've achieved so much as a group.
Yeah.
The band in general, not just the battery and the front ensemble, but the band as a whole has achieved so much. So it's going to be an exciting time.
It is. And even though you don't have seniors in the drum line that are going to be doing that, we'll still get with you, talk to you about the performance afterwards. And then there's one last thing that happens after that, and it's kind of a parents' night thing, right?
Yeah, our parents don't get a chance to really partake in the show and see it as much because they're always moving props. They're always moving, like, we have small props that get moved around. This year it's barber poles. And so when we're loading and unloading stuff, whether it be front ensemble or whatever, our parents don't get to really enjoy the show because they're always working. So what we started doing is we sit the parents in the middle of this big, huge circle. And the band turns into this circle and they play.
Wow.
Like probably the most passionate that they've played because they want to thank the parents for everything they've done.
That's
because
so
we
cool.
know that without our parents, we can't do the shows.
Yeah.
So that becomes an end of the year thing, and we have both of them all in the same night. So I'm really excited.
Yeah,
about
we'll
it.
film some of that, and hopefully we'll even get a few words with some of the parents, so that if you're thinking of putting any of your kids in any music programs in school, or you're going through that now, you'll hear from some parents what it's done for them, their family, their kids. And if you have done that and you're like I am and you're older and your kids are all grown up, it'll help you remember things like that you've been a part of. So thanks so much for joining us. We're so happy to be here and can't wait to meet the kids. So you want to meet the kids? Let's meet these very special kids. Here they come. So now we're with Mr. Brown and who's known as the KickPort Kids. This is the drum line from the Mount Pleasant Marching Band. And who wants to tell us how you guys got your name, the KickPort Kids? Oh, okay. And tell everybody your name, too.
I'm Dakota.
Okay.
And the story goes, me and Chase were sitting in math class.
And this is Chase
This
in
is
the
Chase.
front. Okay.
I'll be honest, I really wasn't paying attention. This is how it all came to be.
Wait, kids in class not paying attention?
All right. But I wrote down a note, and I was just joking at first, and then we kind of took it real serious. I put "We Are" on the outside, and on the inside I put "The KickPort Kids." And then I flicked it at him, and he read it. He was like, oh, and then it just kind of stuck.
Cool. And so did you all call a meeting and invite Mr. Brown in so that you can, no, you just told him this is what it is, this is the way it
I
is?
sent him a text message.
Oh, really? And go ahead and pass the mic to Mr. Brown. What was the first thing that came to your mind when you saw the text, other than I hope he's not driving?
Goofballs, but it was cool. I mean, I contacted the guys at KickPort. I said, so how do you feel about this? And they were like, okay, it's cool.
I could see them saying that.
They were cool with
Absolutely.
it. They were really cool with it.
I want to ask you a couple things, and then we'll kind of make it a group discussion. When I know you've had the KickPorts in the bass drums since summer. We talked about that. And then you put them in the snare drums. When you heard them, did you hear them alone or with the kids at the same time?
No, actually, I installed them and I heard them myself first.
And did you? What was your thought in regards to them when you heard them? Did you say, "Oh, they're going to notice this," or "I hope they notice it"? Or
it was very noticeable at first. I mean, we had to play around with the tuning a little bit, but it was very noticeable as far as the sound projection, and in the tuning, we made sure we had to tune for not standing up close in front of it versus standing. What's the judge going to hear? So that's what we tuned for.
Right. And as we talked about before, this is important because of the way this has changed the sound. I want to kind of get their perspectives now, if you don't mind passing the mic around a little bit. When you first heard the drums and played them, and tell everybody what position you play so that they know.
I play snare drum.
Okay.
When I first heard that we were putting ports in the drums, I thought, well, if it's working for the bass drums, why not put it in the snare and try it? So once we put it in the snare, once we played them, first we couldn't hear ourselves, but once Jazz went to the sidelines, his face lit up.
Because you could hear it more the farther away you are. That's how they're built. They're built to project. Yeah.
And ever since then, seems to be pretty good, but up close it's horrible.
So, You all came from some finals last weekend as this is being filmed, which was the BOA Super Finals in Georgia.
It was a Super Regional.
Super
it was
Regional.
BOA Super Regionals that was held in Atlanta, and we came in second place in our division.
Out of how many schools?
Well, in our division there were 8 in our division, in the 1A division, which we hadn't been there since '03. And so to pretty much be the newcomer, and showing up and doing our thing, it was really good for us to actually show up and come in second place. We came in, as far as bands from our district that went down there.
Yeah.
We had, 4 bands? I think it was like 4 bands from our district that went down, and we scored the highest out of our district.
Wow.
And we were actually the smallest band in our
you're
district.
the smallest band, right?
Yeah.
By about how much on average? How many players?
We have, 65? 60, between 60 and 65. And the next one to that would be, what do you guys think?
I'd say close to 100.
Yeah, I mean, some of
Wow,
them. I mean, it's a big difference. It's
Wow,
between
literally
20 25.
less than 70% of the next
Right.
band up.
Yeah.
Wow. And you scored second place.
Yep.
How do you kids feel about that? I mean, do you realize what you've accomplished kind of coming out of nowhere? This is Jenna, right?
Yeah.
Jenna, tell us, what do you think? I mean, none of you had been there. The school hadn't been there since 2003, so 11 years. And then you show up out of nowhere, and how does it feel?
I think it shows that we're good at how we play, I guess. So I guess it was kind of a fun experience, but it was also really enlightening. I don't think that's the right word, but it was enlightening, how much you can improve, because this is all in one season that everyone's improved a lot. So
Oh, that's great.
I think it's really
And
amazing to see.
there's
the
no
difference.
seniors, right? Now, so how long have all of you played together, the 6 of you?
This is the first year I think all of us together.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow. And Megan, if you don't mind passing it to Megan, Megan said that it was nerve-wracking. During the course of the season, you personally, are you nervous when you all play?
It seems to be only at the BOA.
I'm sorry?
Only at BOA. I'm
Okay.
actually nervous.
And
but-
is it because you're being judged? Is that why? Or because there's more people? Because it's a competition? It's for placement?
Well, there's way more people at those competitions too.
Yeah.
So
So how do you feel after you got through it and got second place? Did you expect a place like that, or did you think this would be easy?
I didn't think it would be easy, but I didn't know we were gonna place.
Right. Before you pass the mic, I want to ask, because I don't remember the names, I'm sorry. Who has most had issues with anxiety here? If you don't mind us talking about that. Okay. Can we talk about that a little bit? Do you mind, Chase? Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about it? Okay. I think do you want some water?
I'm good.
No, you want beer? I got some. No, I'm just kidding. Good answer. Mark that down. I interview some of the biggest musicians on the planet, and some of them still have issues with going on stage, believe it or not. Some of them get really homesick when they're on tour for 3, 4, 6, 8 months out of the year, things like that, even though they've been doing it for 15, 20, 35, 40 years. So it's not unusual, but tell us a little bit about your personal experience, anything you're comfortable with about having anxiety issues and what they were. Was it being that you're playing with a group of people? Is it being because he's so hard on you? Is it because you're playing in front of an audience? Or, first tell us what it was, and then tell us how you've worked through it.
Well, it started when I was really little because...
And hold the mic just a little closer, sorry.
It started when I was really little because when, I think it was my 5th birthday party, I wouldn't open my presents or eat anything until everyone left. And then I would, come out of my room and then ask if I could have my presents.
Right.
But then when I got into kindergarten, I learned that people are going to come up to you. They're going to judge you. You're going to have people that don't like you, and then you're just going to have to move forward from that.
Yeah.
Because whatever comes at you, you're going to have to climb and climb and climb to get over that obstacle.
Right. How old are you now?
15.
And during what period of time do you feel you've improved the most on this issue? And then I'd like to get your take on that because you have a different perspective of Chase.
I would say when I'm with this group,
Yeah.
because I can't be more open with anybody else because I don't feel that comfortable around anyone else.
Right?
So I think that would be the only times.
How much time do you all spend together during the week? Too much?
A lot.
A lot? About how many hours a day, how many days a week would you say?
Well, every Wednesday that I don't practice, I'll invite people over, and like if it's not one of these people, it will be the next Wednesday that I invite one of them.
I see. So total, what would you say, Mr. Brown, about?
Every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday we are together from practice on.
So 5 days.
Yeah, and that's after school rehearsals from 3 to 6. And then they have a class every day, first thing in the morning, Monday through Friday. So, I mean, band class. It's a percussion class, actually.
Oh, okay.
And then I think the only day that we don't see each other probably is going to be Sunday. And sometimes some of them probably see each other still.
Yeah. So is it between about 36 and 40 hours maybe?
Yeah,
That's
sometimes
a lot.
more depending on where we're traveling to on Saturday.
Because I know people that work together that much. The normal work week is 40 hours. And I know people that work together that don't feel that way about the people that they're around. So it's more special than all of you realize right now. You'll look back on this time and have a whole different, I mean, even though if you feel great about it now, in years from now, you'll look back and I think really understand. But how have you seen Chase improved with anxiety and playing and just being around people? And before you answer, I want everyone to know the reason this is part of the story is because, again, it's something that a lot of musicians deal with. So I'm hoping that your stories help others. That's the whole point of Drum Talk TV, whether it's learning, something technical about what goes on here, whether it's about how to tune a drum, whether it's dealing with performance anxiety or anything, or nutrition or working out to be in good health for playing. It's all about learning. So that's why we're talking about this.
I'll try to make it, as brief as possible. But, one of the things we were working on was making sure he started on time, making sure he marched in time. And that was just one of the things, going from not marching to all of a sudden now we have a marching drum line. And we drove home the idea of keeping it in your feet. And so, when he didn't start on time or when he didn't start his feet on time or his hands on time, it wasn't abusive, but it was love. He and I spent 2 weeks of really focusing on that and making sure he started on time and how to count and stuff like that. And then once we got to the field, kind of the responsibility shifted to Megan. And it was like, Megan, count him in. Don't let him waddle by himself.
Right.
And it kind of became a team effort because you have Megan on one side of him, you got Dakota on the other side of him, and it was like, actually both of them needed help making sure their feet stayed in time. And it just became kind of like a family affair where we just kind of pushed each other to make sure it stayed right.
Right. Well, that's
and,
really cool.
Part of that anchor actually is Dylan over there sitting in the middle. And, he had to make sure everybody kind of stayed where they were supposed to. So between, them two, they just kind of took it on and made everybody get in line.
Right. Oh, that's cool. What I'd like to do is start in the back, and I'm going to ask everybody like 2 or 3 individual questions real quick, and then you just pass it to the person next to you, and then we'll pass it to the front. And this is so that you can all get to know them a little bit better. There's just such a great story just coming out of nowhere and winning second place in a competition where the school hasn't been in 11 years, and they've never been to any level of competition like that before, right? Not as a group.
No, not as a group. We haven't been there as a group. Marching anyways, yeah. This is our first year of marching in about 5 years.
Wow. So tell everyone your name and what position you play, and then I'll ask you a couple questions.
My name is Andrew, and I play the 5th bass.
5th bass. Did you play any musical instrument before you played in this marching band?
I played the flute.
Play the flute? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a Jethro Tull fan by any chance?
No.
Do you know who Jethro Tull is?
No.
Okay, I'll hook you up.
All right.
I'll turn you on to some great flute music. Yeah.
All
So, do you play any other drums? Do you play drum set or anything at home?
I don't play drums. Just this one, and I played tenors my freshman year, and that's about it.
Is that something you want to do? Do you have any other musical aspirations? Not that this isn't enough, and I'm going to ask you all that question. It's not to imply that this isn't fulfilling. I'm just curious where your head is at musically.
Oh, it'd be nice to learn some new stuff, but I think I'm pretty set on fifth bass.
Cool. And how do you feel about winning that competition? Second place, anyways, I mean.
Like relieving.
Yeah, relieving. Oh, that's
Yeah,
a good
like
word
we
for
actually
it.
made a pretty good accomplishment that we've been doing all
Yeah.
season.
Are you looking forward to next year?
Yeah.
Because you'll take it next year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer now. You might as well tell everyone not to show up.
That's right.
What do you want to do when you, I don't even know what other term to use, so I'm just going to use this term. What do you want to do when you grow up more? We'll say it like that.
Well,
I don't want it to sound like I'm talking to little kids, you know. They just won the second place in a big regional competition. Do you know what you want to do, what you want to be?
I want to go to college to get my aviation's license and go into the Marine Corps.
Oh, cool. Good for you. Awesome. Thanks. Great. And what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Cool. So I got to ask a third question. All right. Thank you. Go ahead and
You're
pass it on. Dylan,
What's up?
what position?
I played fourth base this
Fourth
year.
base. Did you play any other musical instrument before you did this?
Yeah, my freshman year I played snare, and then I played tenors in the stands this year and last year.
Great. And do you have any other musical aspirations? Do you want to learn drum set or play any other instruments or anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to learn. I'd like to try snare again.
And what do you want to do when you get out of school?
I'm gonna go to college and study for law and criminal justice.
Oh, cool. Great. And what's your favorite vegetable?
I don't eat vegetables.
There's the fun fact for Dylan. Okay. Well, you should, just so you know. Go ahead and pass it on to Dakota, and I think we need to do something with the cable there. Thanks. Dakota, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Great, thanks. Very happy to be here with all of you. What position do you play again?
I'm snare drum.
Snare drum, that's right. Duh. And he's going to be wearing a GoPro. You're going to see a really cool view in some of the camera angles when they march later at the game tonight. So I'm real excited about that. And did you play any other musical instruments?
Well, in middle school they all taught us the keyboards, marimba, and all that xylophone. But I played kit and snare.
Oh, you do? What
about
kind
it.
of music do you play on your kit?
Much like country and rock. That's
Cool.
about it.
Who's your favorite drummer? Other than me.
Scojo, all the what's his name?
Which one?
I know his name any other time.
Tommy Lee.
No, plays for Rush.
Which one?
Move the mic just a little closer.
Plays for Rush. What's the name?
Oh, Neil Peart.
Neil
yeah,
Peart. I
Neil
knew that.
Peart. Okay,
I
good.
drew a blank.
That's all right. You're young. It's okay. You haven't known of him that long. You couldn't have, right? You're how old?
I'm 14.
And when did you get introduced to Neil Peart or Rush?
Since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, really. He was my dad's favorite drummer.
Oh, cool. Cool. On drumtalktv.com, there's an interview with his very first drum teacher.
Really?
Don George, yeah. So check that out. Cool. And what's your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange. Ooh. And what do you want to do when you get out of school?
I would like to go into Air Force and play in the music school.
Nice. Cool. At least 2 going into the armed forces. A little bit of influence there, Mr. Brown, maybe? No. No? Okay. Cool. And let's pass it to Chase, if we could. Did you play any musical instrument before?
Well, 8th grade, I played snare. This year, I'm playing snare.
Okay.
And I play drum set. I can play a bit of piano.
Cool.
I can play electric guitar, acoustic guitar. I can't play bass guitar yet. That's about it.
That's cool. Who's your favorite drummer, and what kind of music do you like to play on the kit?
My favorite drummer would have to be Travis Barker,
Oh, okay. Cool.
and mostly rock.
Cool. And what do you want to do when you get out of school?
Well, I'm hoping to continue with marching because it's something I really enjoy. I don't really think I can let it go that easy.
Are you thinking
So-
maybe getting into like the whole DCI culture and all of that?
Yes.
Cool. And maybe when you're too old to, that sounds weird, when you're too old to march or compete, maybe be an instructor like Mr. Brown?
That was probably the plan.
That's great. That's really neat. How does that make you feel?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I can see him doing it.
Cool. Great. And what's your favorite automobile?
Automobile, Ferrari.
Cool. Nice choice.
Ford? Did you say Ford?
Ferrari.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and pass it on. tell us your name and position again.
I am Jenna, and I play third bass.
Third bass. And did you play any other musical instruments before you started
In
playing?
7th grade, for the first semester, I played trumpet.
Okay.
But I wasn't that good, so I switched to percussion.
Is that why you switched to percussion? Or did you just want to try something new?
Well, my brother, he's 3 years older. He did percussion whenever he was in middle school, so it was kind of interesting to me already. So
cool.
I switched to it for many reasons, not just because I wasn't good at trumpet.
Do you play any other percussion at home or anything?
I have a bell set at home,
Oh, cool.
but
I love mallet instruments. And do you want to continue in music in any way after middle school?
I'm not exactly sure.
Or high school,
I
I mean,
haven't really
sorry. Yeah.
figured all that out yet.
Yeah.
Just still wondering.
Do you know what you want to do beyond high school?
I want to go to college, and I either want to be a psychologist or want to be a teacher.
Oh, cool.
So
And if you become a psychologist, you got your first 5 customers here.
yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
Family discount.
And what's your favorite food to eat at home?
Oh, I love pizza.
Wow, there's no hesitation there. That's great. Do you eat homemade pizza?
Ooh, both. I like the kind you buy and the kind that you can make at home. Both
Very
are-
cool.
Any pizza is awesome.
Awesome. Great, thanks. Go ahead and pass it on. Tell us again your name and position.
I'm Megan, and I play first base.
First base. Did you play any other musical instruments before?
Yes, I'm currently playing clarinet. I'm taking oboe lessons.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Both beautiful instruments to play in orchestra with?
No, I play clarinet in concert band.
Oh, cool. Cool. That's what I was in school, concert band. Yeah. And do you want to continue musically after high school?
I don't know right now.
Yeah. What do you want to do when you grow up more?
I want to go to college and get my PhD, hopefully, in engineering.
Wow.
Like aerospace engineering.
Aerospace engineers. You want to build like space stations and a new station on the moon? Because, there's already 3. No one ever talks about it, though.
That's my dream, okay?
That's great. Wow. Cool. Go ahead and pass it on back to Mr. Brown. So far, what I love is that everyone has really great aspirations. Y'all want to go to college, and maybe that's the new trend. I don't know. Our kids are either too old or our grandkids are too young to kind of have that conversation. Our youngest is in college, which is cool. But that's really cool. How has this journey been for you working with this particular group of people?
This year was really different. Coming from not having a marching battery to, this year we just made the decision. We pulled the plug. We said we're just going to do it, and we're going to put them on the field. And when we first started, we had a lot of challenges, and we had some moments where things were a little tough, but we just kept going, we just kept pushing. And my goal was like, I'm not going to give up. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep pushing. And, they just responded. It wasn't a matter of you're not supposed to be able to do this. No, here's the music, do it. And I think Jenna's eyes respond probably the most or the quickest when you give it to her. She goes, and so she has this big deer in the headlight look, and I'm going, it's okay, Jenna, breathe. Now play this. Mm-hmm. And, and I think that's where, as a team, we kind of begin to work together as a group because they kind of rally around each other. And I don't have to, do anything. I mean, just to brag on them a little bit, like when we were doing summer sessions and stuff, the bass drum section, they had, it's like they started getting together and working on stuff and having their own little parties. And as the season progressed, 2 freshman snare drummers decided, well, we're going to stay after school when you just finished practicing from 3 to 6. They stood around outside and ran the whole show from the beginning to the end just to work on stuff, to keep working on things. And, part of that as the instructor is I have to kind of judge where I put my foot down and where I let things ride. And as an instructor, you just have to know your team. And, they kind of built kind of like their own camaraderie. And, I give them a hard time, but I'm really proud of them. I'm really excited about where we've been and where we are now. Right. And with the fact that now you really got to look at them and say, okay, hey, they're playing, but
yeah,
what do y'all think? Does that change the way I treat you in practice?
And I'm curious, and I'm going to have you just sort of point the microphone that way, and everyone speak up so it can pick you up. seriously, when Mr. Brown gives you a hard time, and I'm sure he does as an instructor, as parents sometimes have to with their kids, do you understand where that's coming from?
I think.
And answer your real answer. Don't
Okay.
worry about the fact that he's here.
I think that we understand, but we still complain to him anyway. I think we complain to him a lot, but we do it to get on his nerves because we know that he'll either like play argue back with us or he'll just. We're never sure what his reaction's gonna be to our reaction. Like he's either gonna be all right with it and just kind of like.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. We can move on now.
A peek behind the
Or
curtain.
he'll like just tell you to be quiet and play the music. So.
Yeah.
There's certain days. It's just
Yeah.
certain days he's more strict than others, but.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And I kind of asked this before. I do want to ask it. Last question before we then switch and see you guys warm up. And I understand you guys show me some really neat triplet exercise. But I want to ask, do you all realize what you accomplished last weekend?
I don't think it's settled in yet.
Really?
I think
don't
it's
either.
like it's getting there.
Yeah. Did it? And when I said one last question, I mean one last topic. So I'm going to ask another question because something comes to mind. While you were performing, and take a moment and think about this, and pass it around and give everyone answer individually, and then pass it down real quick, starting with Chase. When you were all playing, did you feel like, wow, we're doing it, we're really kicking it in right now, or was it more like, well, I hope we're making a good showing? I mean, how did it feel?
At the time, I was just hoping it was in between both of them because I was hoping that it came in on time. And I was also hoping that everyone else came in on time and was counting.
Cool.
Okay, so while we were performing, my main thoughts were, please do not let me trip. But I mean, after that, yeah, it was great. It's like kind of figured out that maybe we weren't as bad as we thought we were.
Right.
So.
Did you think you were bad before?
I mean, on the field, I think we all had our little doubts, like, oh my goodness, we sound awful right now. We are not going to place at all. But then it's like, Jazz told us we sounded good, so we were just like, okay.
What do you think? While you were performing, how did you think you were doing as a group?
I was just hoping that we all came in on time and got all the runs, especially for the bass drums.
Did it feel like you were, though?
Yeah, but with the echo, with the dome, it sounded really bad, but...
Did it shock you when you started playing and you heard what it sounded like in the dome, or did hearing other bands ahead of you kind of give you a preview of, whoa, okay,
we didn't
gotta
really
deal
hear
with
any
this?
bands in front of us.
Oh, you didn't?
So,
So
no.
were you shocked when you heard yourself
Yes.
play and it was just bouncing all over the dome?
But he did warn us that it was going to echo and that we had to keep our levels down, so.
Yeah. Cool. Go ahead and pass it back to Andrew. Andrew, how do you feel when you guys were performing? How did it feel?
Well, at first it felt pretty like nerve-wracking that we actually went to a BOA in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I guess when you're out there, it just sounds like the echoes have echoes.
Yeah.
It was pretty weird.
It's a lot different than playing
Yeah.
outside, where it
Yeah.
just goes and it's done. Yeah. Did you feel confident or were you concerned?
I felt pretty confident.
Yeah.
but-
Cool. Good. Well, paid off. Dylan, well, how do you feel about while you're performing as a group?
I was worried. I think I was the most worried out there. Like when we got done, I just went straight to Jazz and I was like, Jazz, we sucked. That was the most horriblest thing we've ever done. It was the most
Really?
worst show we've done. And he was like, it was fine. It sounded perfect. Don't worry. You got nothing to worry about.
And did you feel that way while they were performing?
Yeah, I thought it sounded great, and it was mainly just the echo bouncing all over the place. And you know, the one thing I told them before they went on the field, I said, don't pay attention to anything you hear. Watch his hands, and you know where your counts line up. You know where your beats go. Just play according to what you see his hands. Don't play according to what you hear, and bring the levels down. Nothing goes above a level 6. There's nothing you're going to play above level 6 other than a crescendo, a decrescendo, and an accent. That's about what I said.
That's right.
And Dakota, how'd you feel?
Well, at snare drums we do shots, and those shots echoed, of course, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. But then I kind of heard Jazz in the back of my head just saying, "Watch his hands and count," and I thought it wasn't our best show, but I feel like looking back on it and like replaying the experience in my brain again, that it wasn't as bad as we thought it was.
Yeah, cool. Great. Well, I hope you enjoy getting to know the KickPort kids. And now let's get a little preview of what they sound like, and we'll check out the warm-up, and then we're going to get a great performance during the game, and then a little something special after that.
So we talked about a special triplet exercise.
Right,
Just show
we
us
did.
that.
Okay, so what we're getting ready to do is a triplet exercise. And we came upon this by accident. I just kept speeding up. And I never said how fast we were going. So they kept doing it. So I kept speeding up.
Sure, that's
So-
what one does.
Right. So I call this the bass drum insane time.
Okay.
Everybody just kind of stands around and watch because it can get crazy sometimes. Okay.
Great.
So, but it's all in fun. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna see how fast we can actually get it before it just goes.
Falls apart. So
Yeah.
has it done that yet?
It's gotten close, but normally I just go. That's enough. I'm not
And
gonna do it
how
anymore.
far have you gotten?
The highest
Speed-wise,
we got
yeah.
speed-wise was 320.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
320 BPM.
320 BPM.
Wow.
We're not starting there though. I'm telling you now. Okay. And so this is all in fun. So hey, let's have some fun with it.
Let's have some fun. Go
All right.
check it out. Cool.
All right, guys.
Ready, go.
No, we won't go there. We'll come down soon. Yeah, they're about to have a cow just now. 1 second. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, Don't ask me what it was, I don't know. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, That's where they were. already.
Yeah.
They were already there. Okay, well let's
Turn it up.
hey, let's go higher. Here we go. One, two, 1, 2, ready, go. Nope. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. That was actually it. Let's do it one last time.
Really?
Lock it in. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Two, 1, 2, ready, go. All right, you wanna know how fast that was? 375. That is by far the fastest you've played it.
And now it was time to hit the field, the last performance of the season. The love and respect that is shared between the students and Mr. Brown is something that every teacher and every student body should experience. This was just fantastic. now it was time for the Fill My Shoes ceremony to signify the passing of the torch, where the seniors pass on their shoes to underclassmen. And here you see senior tuba player Hank Jackson, who also happens to be a drum set player, passing his shoe on to Dakota Vaughn, the snare drum player. Dakota told me that he was honored, especially being that he's a freshman. It's his first year in drumline, and it was like the passing of the torch. And now it was time to move off the field and conduct a special performance just for the parents. And in this special performance, the parents gather in the center, the band circles around them, and performs their material for them. And stay tuned, because we're going to get some last words interviews from the parents on what this program means to them and their kids, and then some last words from percussion instructor Ron Brown.
Here with Chase's mother, Penny. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
What's it like having Chase in drumline?
Wow. It's amazing. He has grown so much this year, actually marching. He didn't march last year, he marched this year. And it went from being a part of the band to being part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it definitely opened the window. He definitely has a passion for marching, and he loves it. But this group and the unity that they have brought has opened him up so much.
What's the biggest, we'll move just a little closer.
That's fine.
What's the biggest way he's grown? In what way?
Probably his anxiety.
Has kind of diminished?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He had a diagnosis of social anxiety, which is absolutely gone.
Wow.
And
even away from this environment?
Even away from this environment.
Wow.
I mean, he became part of something bigger.
Yeah.
You know, so that gave him the strength and the ability to stand and to grow as a person. This unit here, this family, because that's what it is. These kids are all of our kids. They're not just mine, and they belong to all of us.
Right.
Believe me. But they become such a close unit that they grow together. They feel the same emotions. They turn to each other. And for that, other issues seem to fade away. Right. They're not there anymore. I have been so honored and blessed to be part of this organization, not only for what they've done to my son, but because of what they've done. Jazz is remarkable with these kids and what he has brought out in my son, especially. Not taken away from Teeth, but Jazz works individually with these kids, and he brings so much into them. I'm telling you, it has been a blessing. For Chase, never once has he said, I don't want to go. Never once has he said,
that's great.
He doesn't, you know, no matter how brutal practices are, how much he pushed, he's still eager to go.
What would you say to parents who have like real little ones in elementary school that are thinking of putting their kids in band, or their kids are asking them if they could learn an instrument?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would absolutely recommend any organization like this. It's just the teamwork in itself, the growth, and what they learn as a team that helps them grow into such great human beings, such great people.
That's awesome. Thanks for taking a few minutes with us.
You're very welcome.
So we're here with Dakota's, Paris Dakota's, one of the snare drum players. I'm here with Michelle and Scott. How are you both?
Good, how are you?
You must be pretty proud parents.
Very proud.
Yeah, that's great. How did it come about that Dakota joined band and started playing drums?
Well, I played drums in high school.
Okay.
And he got about...
And I'll ask you to speak up just a little bit because we got all this noise around.
When he got about 9 years old, I started teaching him how to play snare drum and little things here and there, and he kind of adapted to it and started liking it, and it just progressed more and more, and here we are.
Great. How was it that he came into band? How is it he worked music into school?
So when he was in 6th grade, he joined the middle school band, and they just had a class, and he did that 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then but to make the marching band commitment was a big decision for him.
Right, there's a lot more time involved.
Yes, and a lot of weekend time, and band camp was pretty grueling for him.
Yeah.
So he, there were times when he was like, "Mom, I don't know," but he stuck it out, and now I think he really loves it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like it for sure. Yeah. Have you noticed any sort of like personal growth within him that you feel is directly related to this experience?
I think he has a lot more discipline. I mean, he's always been a great child, and we've never had any real issues with him.
Yeah,
but,
whatever. Every parent says
I know,
that.
but really, but he, discipline-wise, I see more of an initiative to be more focused, and you don't have to stay on him about little things anymore. He's
that's
taking
great.
that initiative, and I think that really comes from band.
That's great. So would you recommend band to parents that have younger kids that are getting ready for middle school and high school?
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
And music is just, learning music in general is just a good thing.
Yeah.
And I think when you add that, the regiment of marching band to it, and you get the discipline, and call time at 5 means you're here at 4. I mean, learning to be, on time and
he plays the drums.
responsible.
I told all of them, as drummers, you can never be late anywhere. Your job is to keep time, for goodness sakes, right?
That's right.
I do know one drummer who's always late, and I don't understand it. I won't say his name, but I just don't get that.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
It's our job.
That's it. And he has a shirt that says, "I'm the tempo, keep up."
That's funny. Go to drumtalktv.com/shop, and we have a shirt that says "Official Timekeeping Freak."
See? That's it.
That's great. Well, thanks both of you, Michelle and Scott, for taking a few minutes.
Thank you.
with me.
Thank you for supporting our kids. It's great.
It's been amazing being here and helping to tell the story and bring it out to everybody else that can, learn from it. It's wonderful.
We're proud of him.
We are.
I can see
really
why.
are.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're here with Stephanie, who's Megan's mother, right?
Yes.
And there's been sort of a little journey there, as we talked about with her when we were interviewing all the kids. What do you think of how things have turned out? She blew her knee out cheerleading.
Yes.
Ended her long, illustrious, star-studded cheerleading career.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, now she's in drumline.
She loves it, and it's just excelled so much, especially with, we call him Jazz, but
Yeah.
Ron, with his instruction, which we started right after that. We knew that she needed to be in something, so she wasn't sitting at home bored, and she just has flourished under that.
That's awesome. How did it become, I don't remember if we even brought this up in the interview, so I'll ask you, how did it come that she went from cheerleading to drumline rather than
music,
one of the other clubs in school, or
Music is actually a big part of our family. We have generations of professional musicians, actually.
Oh, wow.
Including my uncle, who was a professional percussionist.
Oh, wow. What's his name?
Well, his name was Steve Mundy, but he has passed away. He passed away when she was a baby. My mother plays professionally, and so on and so on. So we knew music was in her genes. It was just a matter of finding the right mix, finding the right instruments. she plays other instruments along with percussion. She plays clarinet and now playing oboe.
Right, she mentioned that.
She, she fell into it. She just said, I want to do this. Watching her big sister march, she just kind of fell in love with jazz, fell in love with that drum line, and as a little thing would just follow them around. So I said, let's do it.
She seems to have really absorbed the whole spirit of the camaraderie and all of that, the brother and sisterhood of the group.
Oh, she does. She does.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. What advice would you have for parents that have kids that are asking to play instruments or want to be in band at school?
To let them try it. It is time consuming, but it is a wonderful time. And it's, as a former band student and now as a band parent, it's a complete different atmosphere, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. You've got to let your child try. You've got to let them do it, and don't let them give up. Right. When the going gets tough, you got to teach them to continue to persevere and continue to fight for that spot, or fight for that whatever you're wanting to learn, to just not give up. And that's one thing that I've always taught my girls, and I try to my best to instill in other kids that are around here, is just keep trying, keep going.
What's the first thing that came to your mind when you found out they got second place last week at the BOA in Georgia?
After wiping the tears off my face, it was just complete pride, and just so proud of what they have accomplished. And they're so young.
Did you have any idea they would place that high?
No, I did not. And just like I said, they're so young, and they're a small band, they're a small drum line.
Yeah.
And just with everything that they've been able to do, it's just been incredible to watch.
Right. Great. Thanks for taking a minute with us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
So Ron, it's the end of the halftime. We had the Parents Muse Band Circle.
Yes,
at the end of the season, senior night. Last time this will happen on the field this year. What's the first word or phrase that comes to your mind that you can say on camera when I say, what do you think of when you reflect back on this year?
Great. Great season. Maturity that came out of nowhere. And just some guys that are hungry to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I can't wait. I can wait, of course, for next year, but because I need time
to get
right. I'm eager to get started. We're gonna get started on some summer practice. Some private lessons and moving forward. But very excited. Very excited.
So they're gonna kind of all start next year. How many of them will be seniors next year? Any
2
of them? Okay, so 2 will be seniors. Yep. 4 will be Juniors.
Well, no, in the battery, we'll have 2 seniors and 4 sophomores.
Okay, and they're going to now start at about this level. So if they're at this level now, where were they at the beginning of the year? If they're here now, were they here? Were they here?
No, they were. It was
really
ground
level, basically.
It was really ground level.
This is how you hold a stick.
This
is how you count.
It was more or less, they had the idea of holding the stick, but it was a matter of, you're talking about holding a stick and marching all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a complex situation because our drill is not easy drill. Yeah. We do a lot of movement, we do a lot of body posturing and stuff like that while we're playing. Yeah. So it was a lot of stuff to put in on some guys who've never marched before. Yeah. So now with that all in consideration, the sky's the limit. If they can learn what they've learned this year, what's next is just incredible. I'm excited about where it's going.
What words of advice would you give to other percussion instructors for band around the country, around the world, to get the most out of their kids and help them have a positive experience as well?
Never set limits. You don't walk in saying, we'll never get this, or you don't. When you put the music down, the kids are going to say, I can't do that, that's hard. My answer to that is, that's the music, play it. And, my kids will tell you, they're like, he never told us we couldn't do that. He just put it down, and every time we said it's too hard, he go, play it.
Yeah.
And so when you have that mentality and you don't tell kids what they can and can't do, and you just go, do this.
Yeah.
You know, in their mindset, it's, I can do this. If my instructor believes in me and tells me I can do this, then I can do it.
Yeah.
Because like I said at the beginning of the year, I always tell them, I'm never going to put you in a position to be embarrassed. And you need to trust me that when I tell you to do something, that means I feel that you can accomplish that.
Right.
You know, and there are some times that you have to go, okay, that may be a little beyond you. Let's back up a little bit. And then we move forward.
It's finding the right method that works for who you're working with.
You know, I mean, some of the runs we played tonight, our bass drums, they were playing eighth notes. Mm-hmm. And once they got the eighth notes down, then we moved them to 16th notes. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a section where our top bass drummer rolls. We started out with her just playing 16th notes. Uh-huh. All right, now diddle that. Yeah. And when I told her that, her eyes goes, you know, she's like, what? And then she did it, and I was like,
yeah.
And then she just looked at me and goes, be quiet. I'm not talking to you no more. So just don't set limits, you know? Don't limit your guys. You know, don't let anyone tell you that, you know, they can't do this. Give them a chance.
Yeah, that's great. Ron, thanks so much for joining us on Drum Talk TV and for having us out here to cover just such a wonderful story. We hope you've all enjoyed this and gotten a lot out of it in whatever genre of life you exist. There's so many great lessons to have learned from this story, we believe. So thank you very much for joining Ron Brown and myself, Dan Schinder, here on DrumTalkTV.com.